I'm Dennis Moore, the curator at the Somervell County Historical Society Museum. We have all of our guests sign in here, where they're from, their name and where they're from, and we average around 7,000 visitors a year here in the museum. This is our military pod. We have 8 primarily World War II uniforms here in the museum. This is J.C. West. J.C. West grew up in Glen Rose. He was in the Navy. He landed the first jet craft on an aircraft carrier, made history. And over here to your right is his entire uniform and all of his medals. This is our St. Helens pod. John St. Helen lived here in the early 1870s, claimed he was John Wilkes Booth. He lived in this cabin, which is now behind Pink Door. And over here in the case, you'll see a rusty derringer that was found underneath the cabin when it was moved into town 15 years ago. After John St. Helen left Glen Rose, he went to Granbury. There's a building named for him there. Later on, he ended up in Enid, Oklahoma, where he committed suicide in 1903. And there he is, propped up in the funeral home for 1 year, and they charge people to see the assassin of Abraham Lincoln. When the museum's busy, I usually invite the guests in, give them a lot of the highlights, and then they let them look around. If they have questions, they can ask. This is our Hall of Fame here of residents. You see here Charles and Juana Cavazos Bernard, the founders of our town. George Adams, who helped get the dinosaur tracks discovered. T.C. Jordan, his wife, got the town renamed Glen Rose. And of course, Charlie Moss, all-around person. He was a local historian, discovered the sauropod tracks, and also was a moonshiner here in Glen Rose. This is our moonshine still that was owned by Charlie Moss. It's the longest exhibited item in the museum. When we opened in 1965, Mr. Moss donated that to us. It's been featured in the Texas Highways magazine, and recently Discovery Channel came and filmed about our moonshine industry, and specifically the raid that took place in 1923. We were producing so much moonshine that it caught the attention of the governor, and the governor sent the Texas Rangers here in 1923 to raid the town. Over 50 people were arrested and taken to jail. Of course, 2 years later, Maul Ferguson, the governor, pardoned all the moonshiners. We have a huge barbed wire collection. We have over 4,000 pieces that were collected by Mr. Ramsey in the late 1970s. We have 24 of these panels collected from Mexico and the United States. This picture shows around 1910, all these farmers had taken their cotton to Bernard's Mill to be ginned, and the cotton, as you see, had been baled up and ready for market. For over 100 years, we've been a tourist attraction. People have come here, get away, drink our water, enjoy the trees and the nature. And we were known as the Moonshine Capital at one point, and today we are known as the Dinosaur Capital of Texas. These tracks you see here on the floor are Sauroposeidon Protellus. These are copies of tracks that were removed from the river, Puxie River, in 1940. Dr. Bird had previously come the year before, in 1939, discovered our tracks here, and he was so excited about it, he returned the next year, removed an entire trackway that's now on display at the American Museum of Natural History since 1954. This is what they look like today. This is the National Geographic article that came out in May of 1954, telling the story of our tracks leaving the river and ending up in the Big Apple. What you see here is a replica of a T-Rex jaw. Dr. Bird and colleagues discovered an entire T-Rex skeleton in Montana in around 1900. He made a replica of the jaw, and he would travel to public schools giving show and tell of this. Later, in about 1970, he donated it to the museum. Here is a picture of him with it around 1970 when he donated it to us. We have a nuclear plant here in Glen Rose, Comanche Peak. And before they built the reservoir that cools the reactors, they did an archaeological dig. And these top 2 shelves are many of the artifacts that they found and were donated to us around 1980. In this case, you'll see coprolite or coprolite, which is fossilized poo. We also have gastroliths or dinosaur gizzard stones. Some dinosaurs had a chamber in their digestive tract, like a chicken has in their gizzard, that helped crush their food. And these are found in fields locally. Glen Rose is known as a fossilized wood capital. And here you'll see in this section, lots of big pieces that used to be found on the ground. Today, no one farms, and so they're not brought to the surface anymore. It's very hard to find the big pieces. And there's a reason why I have this flashlight here. I show all the patrons that come in all the beautiful quartz that is found in these pieces of petrified wood here in Glen Rose. In this case, you see lots of Bibles and paraphernalia from locals. Our area was settled by Christians in the early days, and yes, we welcome everyone, but we are primarily a Christian community, and the church has played a big part in this community and still does. This is a picture of our downtown square in May of 1939. Russell Lee was a photographer for the federal government. He traveled the country catching life during the Great Depression. From 1900 to approximately 1950, we were known as a health center. People came here for our drugless spas. One of those was George Snyder's Drugless Sanitarium. This washstand was once in Snyder's Sanitarium. And you'll notice down here, this little cabinet, that held your chamber pot where you went to the bathroom at night. This is our weapons cabinet. We have Civil War revolvers. We have homemade zip guns that were confiscated in a crime back in the 30s. We also have this gentleman's walking stick from around 1900, but what makes it a weapon is that it has a concealed dagger inside. This is a 1930s Victrola. We have here a record from Dinah Shore. You might remember in the 1980s, she dated Burt Reynolds. This is her singing Button and Bowls. This building was once the Coca-Cola bottling plant. And if you'll notice on the bottom of this Coke bottle, it says Glen Rose, Texas. These are highly collectible. We also have another assortment of local soft drink bottles. You might know that Dr. Pepper has 10, 2, and 4 on it. That means you drink it at 10, 2, and 4 because it was a health tonic in the day. It's good for you. This is a rat trap. This would have been out in the barn. They had to chain it up because those rats got so big they could carry the trap off. But it was mighty effective. Oh! This is a homemade doll, probably dating to 1900. Been a typical doll for a child living out on the farm somewhere out west of town here, around 1900. Would you believe this is an early toilet paper that still survives to this day here in the museum? Of course, if you were poor, you would have used your Sears and Roebuck catalog after Christmas for your toilet paper, or corn cobs. But how cool is this? If you were using this kind of toilet paper, you were living high on the hog. So come visit me here at the Somervell County Museum on the historic square here in Glen Rose, Texas.